Hello and welcome to Secrets of Organ Playing podcast.
This is a show dedicated to helping you become a better organist.
We're your hosts, Vidas Pinkevičius.
And Aušra Motuzaitytė-Pinkevičienė.
We have over 30 years of experience of playing the organ.
And we've been teaching thousands of organists online from 89 countries since 2011.
So now let's jump in and get started with the podcast for today.
We hope you'll enjoy it.
Hi guys, this is Vidas.
And Aušra.
Let's start episode 749 of Secrets of Organ Playing podcast. And today let's talk about a question about historical performance practice and treatises from earlier times that were written. Is it worth reading those treatises about certain issues and aspects of historical performance practice, technique, fingering, registration, composition, and things like that? What do you think, Ausra?
Well, yes.
Give us some background.
Well, yes, our student today at our Undamare studio actually mentioned treatises. So, well, it made me wondering and thinking, what is more important, let's say, at an early process of learning how to play the organ. Is it more important to, practice or to read treatises? And, can, in such case, the treatises help you to become, better organists faster, let's say?
I would say it depends on your goal. If your goal is to become a better organist faster, then practice, of course, would facilitate that, but smart practice. Of course, you need to know how to practice to become better organist. And on your own, you wouldn't necessarily know that unless you have a decent teacher, or you have you have to look for information, right? Nowadays information is everywhere, even at the click of a button. So maybe it's possible to get some knowledge without even having a teacher. Not sure how quality knowledge you would get, of course, fast, without doing and digging some deep research, but some basic knowledge you definitely would be able to get.
Do you think it would be possible, let's say, to learn how to play the organ only by reading treatises, not having like organ teacher or somebody helping you, explaining how to play and how to practice?
I think in this case, I don't know, comparing yourself to some video examples definitely would be needed. How to apply those methods from the treatises, how they are done in practice by other people more advanced than you. And today we have videos for that, right? And tutorials. But definitely you shouldn't spend all your time reading treatises.
Yes, because, just, talking to our student today, I realized that there are actually very few treatises that are, written concerning performance practice. There are more larger number of theoretical treatises about, organ registrations, fingering, intervals, fugues, and all that kind of stuff, counterpoint. But about how to perform music, actually not so many treatises were, written. So maybe we should mention a few, that we came across. So for keyboard players, that probably would be, C.P. Bach's True Art of Playing Clavier, probably number one. Then another one which I found very useful reading was written by François Couperin. And that's...
Depending on the style that you're looking
Yes,
for.
yes,
If
that's
you're
true.
looking, for Italian style, read Italian treatises like Banchieri, Di Ruta. They would have some information about ornaments and fingering in that style.
Of course, Tabulatura Nova by Samuel Scheitz would be also, the source to look in. And,
For North German music, for example, Svelling School as well. Treatises concerning registration practice also. Sometimes they're not even treatises, but sometimes they are collections of organ music, which you could study. One particular collection, interesting, from central Germany, from Bach's day, was Kaufmann and his Harmonische Seelenlust from 1733, and he created this extensive collection of choral arrangements,
and yes,
and all often notated his
registration
suggestions.
which is incredible source, very important actually.
And you would find very, in our view, sometimes strange registrations, sometimes colorful registrations.
But we are
strange,
fascinated, actually. Fascinated,
but
really.
you have to compare also the specifications of those organs from the time and region, to consult with the scores and see what he suggested. And that's really fascinating source, and a glimpse to Bach's registration as well, because it was the same area,
the same
Johann
area,
Sebastian Bach.
the same circle.
Because Johann Sebastian Bach didn't write many extensive registrations.
Yes, we have that one page, of his ornamentations, how they should be performed, and basically that's about it, Of course, his pupils, his students continued his tradition, and they actually wrote more treatises. And we can assume that, those treatises included Bach's knowledge. Let's say Marburg's treatises about fugue, or again C.P. Bach's, True Art of Playing Clavier. And you could look also at the treatises written by authors for other instruments, because as Vidas and I talked today earlier, that the articulation, for example, was common practice in Baroque area for all the instruments, winds and string instruments and keyboards.
Shall we take a break and sip a few water drops from our Secrets of Organ Playing mug? This is a wonderful birthday gift that I gave to myself, but also to Ausra, but this is on another table behind the camera for Ausra. And she refuses to drink from my mug, so I'm drinking alone.
Yes, because you are like pigeon, spreading infections everywhere.
But if you like this mug and design of it, check out the description of this video. We have the link available to the mug and the design, so you could also gift somebody you think would enjoy. Lovely. Ready to come back to the real world?
Well, yes.
All right. Talking about the treatises, one thing that is important, if you are developing organist, is think about your goal, right? If you want to become a better organist, or do you have some other goal in mind? Why do you need treatises, right? For example, sometimes a person doesn't want to become a better organist, but he wants to consult treatises for the sake of understanding compositions better, right? Or even to compose in certain styles. So if that's the case, I would still think that you need to take action, right? Just treatises wouldn't make you a better composer, right?
Sure, and that's a danger, and getting into treatises too deep. Maybe if you know you are musicologist, maybe that's a great idea, but and let's say today I had that funny feeling that our student asked us about treatises just to impress us, that he knows that things like this exist. And I'm afraid that in some cases, after reading a few treatises, it might be just the main interest, to show off, to show how smart you are, and to.
And he's very smart.
Yes, yeah.
For his age, of course. So when saying take action, I mean, even if you're interested in treatises as a musicologist, think about what musicologists do. They write, right? They write about their research.
Yes. Yeah.
They not only read, but they take notes and then they share the findings and accumulate more knowledge this way, basically. So take action, either writing about what you read, or even if it's a practical application about certain aspects of musical compositions, you can try to compose a piece or an exercise or both regularly based on the methods from that treatise. That way you are sure to understand the concepts from the treatise much better than just reading on certain aspects. Taking action is important, right? It's the same as if you're trying to become a better organist. You must practice repeatedly, regularly, and only then become better.
Yeah, and for example, as for me, it's probably more important, to try out historical instruments or different instruments, different organs, because the instrument is the best teacher actually. It shows you how to play, and if you listen carefully to your playing, you will understand if you are playing good or not, appropriately or not, in style or not in style. And basically, I learned the most about early style, about Baroque style, from playing pedal clavichord. It taught me so much, actually. Probably no teacher and no treatises could do that.
Because they can describe what those instruments, let's say pedal clavichord, can do. Those treatises can describe, but you still need to sit down at the clavichord
And try it
out.
Yes.
Otherwise you would only know on the theoretical level.
It's the same, like with split keys, for example. Of course, theoretically you can, understand, but in reality, it's different.
Then you would take a piece by Dieterich Buxtehude, let's say, and a piece in G major, and try to find some accidentals within.
Better take piece in E minor and try to find D sharp.
Yeah. And certain keys are closer to you, certain are further away. And it's not as obvious which ones are closer to you.
Sure.
But
or
you need to listen too.
Do you remember that preludium by Dietrich Buxtehude in F sharp minor? Think about it, because I still think that it's not an original key of his composition.
Probably not.
Because I just can't imagine how could you play.
F sharp is the first note, A is the second note, but the third note is what? E sharp.
Yes.
E sharp.
And in that tuning, definitely E sharp, well, note F wouldn't sound like we now hear the E sharp. So it's impossible. So
unless it was transposed.
yes, that's
It was
possibility.
transposed
Yes.
to try out on some other temperament, right? It could have been transposed to try out on the temperament which was set on a smaller instrument, let's say stringed instrument like a clavichord, which is easy to tune.
Yeah.
And then it would be easier to try out F sharp minor rather than trying to tune and set a temperament on entire big three-manual organ at the church or cathedral. Definitely a small chamber instrument would be
Yes.
testing ground. So, guys, always take practice seriously and take action from what you read. Even if you read, some people don't even read treatises.
Do you think you can become a good organist without reading treatises?
To a certain extent, you would still need some guidance. Then your teacher needs to read, so that you wouldn't need to read. Right?
That
And
would
then your
be
teacher
wonderful.
should spoon feed you information and tell you what to do. But then you would lack original sources. Yes, you would trust your
Yeah.
teacher, and your teacher would become an excellent expert because they would read original sources, but but you wouldn't know those sources because only your teacher did, and they shared the findings with you, but not all the findings, but only findings that are relevant to you. So to a certain extent, yes, you need treatises, but right after you read a certain passage which is important, relevant to you, take notes, and then apply those notes in your practice.
But in general, I think it's really challenging nowadays because most people only read like titles. We don't read like complete article in the social media, or we don't read books, and reading treatises is like 10 times harder, or even more than 10 times.
I think the time will come that it will be a matter of a click of a button to find the treatise online. Yeah. You wouldn't even need to go to some library. Maybe that's the case for some books now, but not all. But there will be time when you just need do a search, and maybe artificial intelligence will summarize treatise or even a chapter and tell you step by step what's written in the chapter for you, so that you wouldn't need to read. But before that happens, you need to think critically about AI and what they can do for you, and never trust without questioning AI. You have to then double check AI findings for yourself. That's important as well for everyone who is doing research these days.
True.
It seems so easy, right? You type a question into ChatGPT and you get an answer.
There you go.
And sometimes that answer could be true and sometimes not, but you never know when. You could know when if you know the answer ahead of time. But in most cases, if you're asking the question, you don't know the answer. Then if you're generally asking the question, then you need to get a second opinion, consult an expert or a treatise in this case. Good question. Good question. Hopefully you got something out of it. Please send us more questions. We love helping you grow. And remember, when you practice,
miracles happen.
This podcast is supported by Total Organist, the most comprehensive organ training program online.
He has hundreds of courses, coaching and practice materials for every area of organ playing, thousands of instructional videos and PDFs. You will not find more value anywhere else online.
Total Organist helps you to master any piece, perfect your technique, develop your sight reading skills, improvise or compose your own music, and much, much more.
Sign up and begin your training today at organduo.lt and click on Total Organist. And of course, you will get the first month free too. You can cancel anytime.
If you like our organ music, you can also support us on Buy Me a Coffee platform.
Find out more at buymeacoffee.com/organduo.